Hi everybody, and thanks so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Dion and this is D. Maria Reacts. So we have to talk about what's going on with these LA fires that seem like they're just never going to stop until they just burn out on their own. The Democratic Party is being exposed for gross negligence and incompetence. Unfortunately, there's been too much emphasis placed on DEI within the fire department. And when you focus so much on identity politics, something else is going to fall by the wayside. As far as priority, the proper priority would be to make sure that the people of Los Angeles, the people of California, are taken care of when it comes to natural disasters. This started off a natural disaster. It is raging out of control because the Democratic leadership in that state have let their constituents down. Let's check this video out.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
That was absolutely irresponsible for her to say. See, this is precisely what I mean. So, who in their right mind, if your life is flashing before your eyes and you are in a life-threatening situation, I don't think you are going to give a care the color of the earth suit of the person that's coming to your rescue. You're not going to make me believe that. When you want help, when you feel like your life and your home is being threatened, you don't care who's coming. Identity politics, they want to try to force this into every realm of life, every experience. It doesn't make any sense. And then when she said, if I have to pick you up and carry you out of here, you're in the wrong place. The problem with identity politics is that if you're obsessed with race, with skin color, you're judging by that all the time in your mind. You see through a lens of race obsession. So when you're already in that mindset, then it's not a huge leap for you to then start passing judgment on the people you are so-called coming to help. Life brings about some precarious situations sometimes, and we can't help the place we've ended up in. But if you are a first responder, you should be committed to helping people no matter what. When you're obsessed with race, you're going to make poor judgment calls. Emergencies like this is no place for identity politics. You cannot extrapolate identity politics into situations such as this. If a person is in a life-threatening situation, they don't care what color the person's earth suit is, who's coming to rescue them. I'm in help. My life is flashing before my eyes. You're coming to help me? Thank you, Jesus, that you're coming to help me. Nobody gives a care about that kind of stuff. When they're in trouble and they need help, you're not going to make me believe that. So that was completely irresponsible for her to say. And then she went on to say, because it's something about that DEI mindset, you don't make proper judgment calls. You're not thinking in proper categories. Because the next thing she says is, sir, if I have to lift you out of here, you're in the wrong place. That is a horrible thing to say. So, because you are obsessed with race and obsessed with probably gender politics even, um, you're going to come into a situation already making improper judgment calls. You don't criticize, you're a first responder, you don't criticize anything about the reason why the person is in that predicament. What if that person was handicapped? What if that person got injured? And your statement to them would be, if I have to carry you out of here, you're in the wrong place.
A few moments later.
LA mayoral candidate and real estate developer Rick Caruso criticizing the city's response to the windstorm and fires. He says officials should have been more prepared.
First off, Rick Caruso is a Democratic politician who ran against Karen Bass in 2022, and he lost. So when they show his name, they put that he's a real estate mogul. He's a billionaire. Not that any of that matters, but I had to go get some background on him because I wondered why they were taking his statement. So he lost to Karen Bass for being mayor of Los Angeles.
To me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly. And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Despite what you have heard from Caruso, no firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
And let's go out to Gigi Gracia.
Check this out.
She is live in Pacific Palisades. I know your signal's not the best, but Gigi, what can you tell us?
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water on this block, and you may be able to make out the ember storm that we're in the middle of right now. This house going to be a total loss. They have no water to put on this fire. They are standing by because they're trying to save the home that is next to it.
So this situation is getting nothing but worse. The last I heard, they still have 0% containment, which means they're not containing it at all. So the disaster happening in Los Angeles is just fully exposing the incompetence of the Democratic political officials. I was reading the other day that the last water reservoir that was built was in 1973. Just imagine, okay, 72, 73 population compared to current California population, which includes a high percentage. I think the state of California has the highest percentage of illegal immigrants. Surely some of these people are probably feeling like, why in the world did I come here? I came to hell. So what this is showing and what's being put on full display is that Democrats are looking more and more like they do not know how to govern. They do not know how to govern. Either that or they are egregiously unconcerned for their fellow American. There's a clause in the United States Constitution. It's Article 1. It's called the Article 1, Section 8. It's called the General Welfare Clause. Let me pull it up. I want to read the whole thing. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, and to provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. These people are not just working on a job. They are bound by the Constitution to do the job that has been entrusted to them. In my opinion, they all need to be wiped out. So, next thing I want to come to is Mayor Karen Bass. Remember her? She's the one that when she got in town and a journalist ran up on her asking her questions. And unfortunately, the people who are losing everything, they're losing their homes, all their valuables. Some of them have lost their lives. I think the last count is that there were 10 people dead as a result of these raging forest fires in Los Angeles. The whole world is watching and coming to the realization that the Democratic Party, they do not know how to govern. New Los Angeles fire chief, she said priority one for her, this is what she said when she came in office, that priority one for her was to, I guess, balance whatever racial injustices. No, priority one should be being a first responder. Anything else should fall after if you're going to do it. But I believe that there is no place for identity politics in situations like this. First video that I posted on this topic, Mayor Bass was approached by a journalist from Sky News, and he asked her these questions. Watch her response here.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home? Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
So you have nothing to say to your constituents. That was just inhumane. Her response was inhumane. Now, of course, she's mute and she's biting her tongue because she's just thinking about herself. She's thinking, let me wait until I get back to the office so someone can write me a speech that I can read. I got to get back to the office so I can get the proper talking points before I open my mouth. As a human being, you have nothing to say. You can't say, I am so dreadfully sorry for what people are suffering during this time. My heart goes out to everyone who is losing homes, valuables, pets, some even their loved ones. My heart goes out to you. You can't just say that. You're just not going to say anything. She pretended to be deaf and mute. This reminds me of what happened in North Carolina. And this probably has a lot to do with why the election turned the way that it did, turned out the way that it did. People are tired. When you play the game of identity politics and you have DEI hires all over the place, people that are not trained, they're not the best ones for the job necessarily, then this is what you have. And Mayor Bass cut the budget. She slashed the budget of the fire department by $17.5 million, like few months before what's going on now. Overtime, I think they fired like hundreds of firefighters because they refused to get the jab back when that virus was going on. This is unconscionable.
Facing its worst wildfire in its history, and Mayor Karen Bass is facing some criticism tonight from a lot of different fronts. Earlier this year, she approved a budget-cutting $17.5 million from the fire department while increasing police funding by $12.6 million. Fire department now gets 6% of the city's budget compared to 15% for police. Critics, including former mayoral candidate Rick Caruso, questioning her leadership, especially since she was in Ghana for a presidential event, inauguration in Ghana, when the fires broke out.
Well, they knew something was sparking off already. She knew it before she left, and she went ahead and left and went to Ghana.
Let's go to Bob DeCastro, because he was where city officials were holding a news conference earlier this morning, giving updates on this fire and answering some tough questions, especially directed to Mayor Karen Bass. Bob, what did she say?
Well, she was not at that press conference yesterday, as you may remember, because she was returning from a trip out of the country. She was in Africa, and many had questioned why she was not here when this crisis broke out, when everyone knew, according to the National Weather Service, that this was going to be a life-threatening and destructive windstorm. Well, when asked specifically by a reporter, in his words, was a lack of preparation and a lack of rapid response, she simply said that she is simply focused on saving lives and property, and she did not go beyond that. She didn't say anything else. I asked her specifically about the criticism that she slashed the LA Fire Department budget by more than $17 million. Some rank-and-file firefighters have said that they're weary, that they are stretched too thin, and that impacted the firefight. Here's what she had to say. Can you address the criticism now over the budget issue and the slashing $17 million?
You know, I think if you go back and look at the reductions that were made, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days. And then there was a little bit of confusion because money was allocated to be distributed later on, which was actually going to support salaries and other parts of the fire department that were distributed a little later. So I think it's most important to understand that we were in tough budgetary times. Everybody knew that, but that the impact of our budget really did not impact what we've been going through over the last few days. Again, back to the unprecedented windstorm, when at such ferocity that we haven't seen in years.
So yes, these videos are going viral, and she is under a hailstorm of criticism. Now watch her dodge the question being asked by the reporter here.
Mayor, LA County is in a panic state. It began 2 days ago with the Palisades fire. My crew and I arrived shortly after it started, and for several hours we watched as hundreds of homes in a neighborhood burned to the ground. We did not see a single fire engine. We watched as Good Samaritans guided traffic. There was fear and there was a lot of confusion. You were out of the country at the time. Shortly after the fire started, a press release was put out warning of this fire behavior. My question to you is, what explains this lack of preparation and rapid response?
Let me just say, first and foremost, my number one focus, and I think the focus of all of us here with one voice, is that we have to protect lives, we have to save lives, and we have to save homes. Rest assured that when rest assured, let me finish. Rest assured, when that is done, when we are safe, when lives have been saved and homes have been saved. We will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc. But my focus right now is on the lives and on the homes.
Do you think your leadership was effective while responding to this disaster?
I just said what I believe is the most important thing for us to do right now, and that is going to continue to be my focus. Thank you.
Thank you.
It never ceases to amaze me how people, especially a politician, can wiggle their way out of answering a question. These people, the Democrats, are skilled at dodging the point. So the things that she's claiming is her priority number one, she's not even accomplishing that. So you all need to be in real time evaluating yourselves, okay? Yes, evaluate more in depth after the fires burn out on their own, because apparently that's what's going to have to happen, because they can't get it contained. And they can't get it contained because they were ill prepared. And for her to stand there and say in the previous clip, that budget cut of $17.5 million is having no bearing on their current failures, she is ridiculous. Those monies, it was said, was supposed to be reallocated to help homeless immigrants in the state. Now where are the immigrants going? And where are the residents of California going? So you see how they do? Politicians are great at dodging questions, period, okay? But Democrat politicians, it is an art form for them. They will first gaslight you, and then they won't answer your question. They'll repeat back to you the concerns of the hearts of the people, okay, their constituents. They'll repeat that back to you. Oh, they're going through this. See, that's to invoke the emotional response. And then that blurs your thinking, so they think, and you forget about the question you asked and how it's not being answered. I'm not saying that about this particular reporter, but I'm just saying in general. That's how they do. They get you all whizzed up into an emotional state, and then they come with the talking points. It is obvious that she would not address this situation verbally, not even as a human being, until she got back to a place where she can get her talking points in order and use that so it wouldn't reflect on her. This lady needs to be losing her job. Governor Newsom as well needs to be losing his job. Well, I think he can't run again anyway, can he? I don't think so. But the level of incompetence and the magnitude of the destruction all speaks to the fact that the people that are in current leadership need to lose their jobs behind this. The Democratic leadership in California is being shown to be so incompetent that I see why people are saying they're going to mess around and turn the state of California red. I can see it happening. I've heard it said that, like, the Palisades, which is one area that has been totally obliterated, it was 80% blue, 80% Democrat. They all lost their homes. How do you think that's going to change their mindset? See, all this crazy woke progressivism, it sounds all cute and dandy until something happens and you're affected. So I can certainly see it happening. When the fires finally die out, And there were a lot of wealthy people that lost their homes. When they go to rebuild, because of all the regulations and the red tape and the bureaucracy that California has going on, they're going to need to go and pull a permit first. And once they pull that permit to rebuild, it still will take years before they are allowed to start the process. So these are huge numbers of people that are being displaced. And I bet they're not going to like it in the coming weeks at all. They say the best way to red pill a progressive, just give them what they want. Give them what they ask for. And when they become affected by what they so-called ask for and what they want, that's when they'll get mad. That's when their eyes will open up. That's when they'll start thinking rather than let someone push them into groupthink. Let's look at this one last clip. Watch how Governor Nuisance responds to this particular lady.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
So fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see the. Do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, incling making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do. Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
Right there.
I was confused when she said, is it going to be better next time? There had better not be a next time. Well, there's going to be a next time in the sense that there's going to be more wildfires. But that was a weird question to ask. Anyway, I don't believe anything he was saying, that he was on the phone trying to get to the president. I don't believe any of that malarkey, not for 1 minute. These people need to get the heck out of Dodge. They say Gavin Newsom has a legacy of terrible fire management. I mean, there's a whole process that should have been going on that he was not permitting because he was bowing to the desires of these radical environmental terrorist people who did not want the foliage touched. So the what do you call it? So, you know, over time as leaves fall and branches fall, all that underbrush, they call it, all of that should be cleaned out periodically. And those things had not been touched for years. Okay, they weren't raking up the floor of the forest, and none of that was being done. And when man doesn't do those things, then nature is going to step in and go, okay, I'll take care of it. And then that's why all that burning happens. So it's just a shame. My heart genuinely goes out to the people. I don't care, even rich people. Because when something like this when something like this happens, boy, it just levels everybody. You know, when you lose your home, you're homeless. You're just as homeless as the people who have no money in the bank at that point, because that's just how helpless you are. They have just been reckless with the incompetence and just not even treating people like humans. It's just ridiculous. But that's all I have for this topic. I thank you all so much for joining me. If you got value from this content, please do me a favor before leaving out. I would like you to hit that like button, leave your comments down below, subscribe, and once you subscribe, you'll be presented with the option of clicking the bell marked all, so that whenever I drop a video, you'll be notified. Thank you so much, you all, for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Take care and be safe.